So,
Brenda and I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and we were told that there were certain words we couldn't say. We came from a very conservative Christian home, and we couldn't say a lot of words. Like, sorry, this phone is just slipping.
oh, it's me. I'm moving. Sorry.
No, it's slipping. Okay, so words we couldn't say. Some of them were fart. Instead, we would say poot. That was acceptable.
It's the only acceptable way to refer to that. Or you could say, if you wanted to be fancy, passing gas.
Yeah, and we also could not talk about certain bodily parts and functions. And one of those was like our private parts on girls was called a monkey. And to this day, I'm a little traumatized. I can't really talk about monkeys or see them very much because it's kind of nasty.
and my nickname was Twinkle Twat.
And we realized later, much later, that a twat was not a good word.
Not a compliment.
Also, sorry, we were told that buttholes were called a corny hole. So that game called cornhole, it's not something I can talk about or even play. I would call it beanbag toss.
Yeah.
Just to avoid that.
Right.
Let's see. Because cornhole, I don't think I said that meant like butthole.
Yeah, that was bad.
And there were a lot of words we just were not allowed to say. Anything that sounded like a curse word, but what did they call it? A byword. Yeah.
To get you by, because it was a crutch.
Yeah, and if it was a crutch, that only meant it was a substitute for a curse word. So we could not say dang, darn,
Darn.
drats.
Nothing.
Any of those sounded too much like damn, and that was absolutely not allowed.
And they were bywords. Even
Yes.
if they weren't curse words, they were bywords.
Oh, and one time we were at the Sunshine grocery store in Lynn Haven, and of course they left us in the car instead of going in because
I remember this. This was so funny.
because if you brought us in, we were going to start dancing to the music they played on Muzak and embarrass them and all that. And we just needed to be in there because we'd beg for candy and stuff that they couldn't afford to buy.
We didn't try to be bad kids, but
No,
we were just annoying, I guess.
but we were not the only ones that were left in the car because Lenny and Lonnie Bollinger, who were our age, they were in a car next to us.
They were.
And we, of course, had the windows down because it's summer and it's Florida and it's hot.
Right.
And they started yelling out, F you. I won't say it here in case whoever's
with
watching.
the entire word.
Right, the entire word. And we'd never heard that, so we just yelled it back at them. And our parents had to come out about the same time that
And
we were
here
yelling
us
it.
in the Sunshine grocery store parking lot.
Yeah, and they were like, you cannot say that. We were like, well, what does it mean? And they were like, we can't tell you. So, of course, we kept on and on and on, wanting to know, what does it mean?
Here, tell me what it means.
And they would not tell us. So the more that they tried to ignore our questions, the more we wanted to know and say. But we did not get a spanking for that. But I can tell you that I did get spankings when I answered an adult and did not end it with ma'am or sir. Because it was absolutely Southern good manners to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, please and thank you. And if I forgot to do that or just failed to do it, I would get a pop on the butt with either the hand or switch. And when I say switch, what I mean is a limb from the plum tree that was in our yard.
Was it a plum tree? I don't remember that.
Well, I remember the plum tree. It was small enough they could reach it and they could pick off a little limb and shred the leaves off it. And where they shred the leaves, it leaves a little like dot or something. So when they swatted you on the butt, it would leave a mark. And that was perfectly acceptable. And yeah, my spankings were mainly from being rude, not using good, proper Southern manners. It was not from doing bad things per se. It was from not using the correct...
You didn't get spanked enough. She made me get spankings.
Well, if I could somehow
She always-
transfer my bad deeds to Brenda, I would do it.
Yeah, Mom, look what Brenda did after she did something. And I'd get in trouble.
I really didn't do that much bad stuff, did I?
Blamed me with everything.
I did.
And if you didn't have anything to do with it, but you found out that I had done something questionable, you were the hall monitor, the tattletale.
I was the tattletale. I believed I needed to report every bad deed that happened.
You did. You were the reporting agency. You were collecting information at all times. You were big brother, but big sister.
Actually, that started at a young age.
Yes.
I believe we were probably in 2nd or 3rd grade. We're only 19 months apart. And so I'm the older one, so I, of course, had to be the boss, I thought. And do you remember that time that we started the S.P.I club, S.P.I?
Oh, yeah. That was important. That was a huge
acronym.
endeavor.
Yeah, it stood for Sneaky Plans Incorporated, which I developed. And somehow I knew for a corporation you had to have officers. So I became the president and the secretary, and I assigned that you were the vice president and the treasurer. And as the treasurer, you were supposed to keep up with all the money that we contributed to this organization.
We didn't contribute any. Nobody wanted to give away their allowance. And for what? I'm like, what are we going to spend it on?
We did put a little bit in there, but then we had arguments over how we were going to spend it and who we're going to spend it on, what we're going to buy. So it was not a great organization, but I did know that we needed to have meetings and minutes. And so we would have meetings, but Brenda didn't pay attention very much. And so I was like, I'm the sergeant at arms. You must pay attention. You must
she gave
contribute.
herself a new nomination and job, new title on the board.
And we did keep minutes, and I still got those. It's in a spiral notebook.
I
And
remember this spiral notebook.
yeah, and I would say, like, on this date, we discussed what we're going to buy for Christmas.
Yeah.
But the main mission, we had a creed. We didn't even know what a creed was, but we had a creed. And it meant that we, on my honor, I promised to sneak a little every day.
Yeah,
that was,
we did.
That was our main mission.
That was it.
And so what that meant was we had to try to figure out what our parents were going to get us for Christmas before Christmas Day. And then we had this elaborate plan that we were going to prove to them that there was no Santa Claus, because they tried to make us believe that, even though we kind of didn't believe it, but we wanted to believe it.
Right. And I think we had some neighbors who joined the club, too.
Oh, you mean like Danny?
And Yvonne.
Yeah, we probably forced them into it.
We wanted their money.
Oh, wait, let's go back to Danny.
Let's do it.
Danny was your age, which is like a year and a half younger than I am. And he was an only child. And Danny's father had been in the Air Force and apparently had done pretty well in the Air Force. And our dad had been in the Air Force, but he died when we were young. And Danny would start bragging about his dad, which made me mad somehow.
Always.
Yeah, and I told him to
Bragging.
stop talking about it, and he wouldn't stop. So one day I scratched him up because I had long nails.
Remember?
We were jumping on the trampoline, and he goes in the house. I didn't want him to do this, but he went
You
and told
just started
Mom.
scratching him. You just like aggressively started
It's the only fight I've
scratching
ever
him.
been in my entire life. The only physical fight. And it was my neighbor
funny.
who was taller than I was and bigger than I was. But I just got tired of him talking about how good his dad was, and I didn't have a dad, so it just really pissed me off. And so he goes, Miss Wells, can I have some Band-Aids?
I remember that. She's like, Band-Aids?
Yeah, what for? Janice scratched me. So then I got in trouble for scratching the neighbor.
I don't think you got in bad trouble for that.
Not real bad. I think Mom kind of understood.
I think she kind of thought he deserved it.
And he did. Not just for then, but for everything.
Everything. But it's okay.
Yeah, and
It's all right. Well, I think Mom's final verdict was, well, he can take it, I guess. He's a boy.
yeah, yeah. Because what did Mom say about men?
Well,
They're all cut from the same cloth.
They're all cut from the same cloth, and they're never going to be anything but a man. That's all you can expect.
She loved Daddy to death. I mean, that was the love of her life, and they were all giddy about each other. For the 16 years they were married before he passed away at the age of 42. And so we came away with these stupid expectations that every relationship or couple should be very much in love like that, and just, you know, all over each other.
It's all about holding hands every night in front of the TV.
Right. But reality was, I found out over and over and over again that that's not really how most people are. But I
It's how we
expected it.
are.
Yeah, I mean, we have these high expectations.
We just had the expectations. It's not really rooted in reality.
Unfortunately, I haven't quite found that. I mean, I've been married 4 times, divorced 4 times, and more relationships than I want to count. And I guess I finally figured out that my expectations and reality are quite different, and it's not going to be like mom and dad.
But get back to the Sneaky Plans
Incorporated.
Mm-hmm. We had to have it incorporated.
Yeah, and we did have regular meetings, even though I was really pissed off that you didn't pay attention a lot of times in the meetings.
You thought I wasn't, but it was boring. It was the same thing over and over.
I'm like, do we have a quorum? Yeah, we're both here.
She did.
I really don't know how I tried to learn the Robert's Rules of Order so young, but somehow somebody put that in my head, and I wanted to have a corporation. Oh, I'm sure it must have been from Daddy, because Daddy was always trying to come up with some scheme for some new business or some new organization or something. He was definitely an entrepreneurial mindset, and Mom was total opposite. She was like, hell no, even though she didn't curse, of course. And she was like, we're not going to do anything with any risk. And Daddy wanted to buy hotels on the beach all the time, and she was like, no way, I don't want to live on the beach.
Remember the Mimosa Motel?
Mimosa and the Paddock on the beach. They were cheap. They could have bought them and probably been millionaires later. But right before Daddy died, we did buy a restaurant.
Yep.
It was in Lynn Haven. And
creatively named Wells Restaurant.
Yeah, but then he also told me I had to quit coming down there and eating steak every night.
Me too. I thought it was just me. I hated
No, he
pepper
told me
steak
that too.
after school.
I had the Salisbury steak.
We must have been horrible kids.
And I remember one time that it was a pretty long ways from the house to the restaurant. I would say it was probably, at least 2 miles?
Oh, I think it was more than that. I really did.
It probably was more than that.
More. I think it was quite a bit more. But
And back
maybe
then we didn't like
wrong.
wear shoes, so I went barefooted from the house to the restaurant, and literally my feet had blisters on them because I went barefooted like an idiot, but I hated to wear shoes. And when I got there, my feet hurt so bad, and they're like, well, it's your own fault. You should have put on shoes. So I had just a little bit of money, probably from an allowance. It was less than $1, but I walked down to the pharmacy, which was nearby, probably Hanson's.
Yeah.
And I bought some, I remember it was called Ammon's foot powder.
I remember that.
Yeah, I could barely afford it, but I bought this foot powder, and I sat on the curb on the side of the main road there in Lynn Haven, and I sprinkled both feet with foot powder, and I had to walk back home. They were not going to carry me back home just because I had blisters on my feet.
No.
And so, we were...
But you never told about our Christmas. What the culmination of the S.P.I.
Oh, okay.
The Sneaky Plans Incorporated was.
Right. It did wind up with a beautiful finale.
Yep.
So we had this planned out. I mean, this is what our meetings were really about. Like, how are we going to carry out this S.P.I. plan? Mm-hmm. And so what the deal was I was the one with insomnia from day one of my life, and Brenda always figured out how to go to sleep, so she was lucky. But I was talking her into, she would still have to participate, but my job was to have a blanket in the corner of the living room, and I was going to do like the slithering army crawl from the bedroom to that blanket, hide under the blanket on Christmas Eve night and watch what our parents did to prove that the Santa Claus was really our parents. In Brenda's job, I think you were supposed to be the lookout.
I was.
Yeah, and so she was supposed to let me know when it was a good time to move, and if there was any issues, like any parents coming or something, we would stop the plan. We'd have to abort. And so anyway, Brenda, like always, just fell asleep like a normal kid, but not me. So we had gotten a wig from our Aunt Elma, I think it was. We found this old wig. So I put the wig on my pillow.
What about this?
Yeah,
Yes,
and I stuffed dirty clothes under my bed to look like it was me laying there asleep.
Under your bed linens.
Right, in case either parent got up to check on us,
Oldest
which
trick
they
in the
did.
book.
Yeah, they always checked on us. And so, of course, they thought it was me in the bed asleep. But actually, I was over there in the corner of the living room, and I got to watch them roll in our new bicycles and bring in our presents and all that stuff. And then I kind of jumped out and said, gotcha. And oh my God, it was not like what I thought. I thought it was going to be like, aha, you're smart, you caught us. No, they were so disappointed they were almost crying. And then I felt sad. And it was probably 2 a.m. or something. And I wanted to wake up Brenda and tell her about it. Like, we proved it, we did our deed, the job is complete. She kept sleeping anyway.
Yeah, she got mad at me. I wasn't a very good lookout.
No, And I just wound up feeling really sad about it. And I believe that might have been 1972 or 70. Yeah, it couldn't have been beyond 72. No, it would have been before that because Daddy died in November of 72. So we were probably 9, and you were 9 and I was 11. Or it could have been you were 8 and I was 10.
Well,
I think it was 9 and 11.
they tried to keep us kids for as long as they could.
They
little
wanted
kids.
us to be sweet and innocent. They didn't let us know about anything. And even like when the news came on at night, I was curious about what was going on in Vietnam. They
Me
would
too.
not let us know anything about that.
And Watergate.
We couldn't know anything
stop,
about that.
But
We
I
were
couldn't stop
curious.
watching.
Yeah.
I wanted to know. And to this day, I think of that quite a bit.
And I remember in 3rd grade that kids were wearing those bracelets that said POWMIA. And I asked Mom about that and Dad, and they're like, you don't need to know. So we had to learn about history and world events much later in life. I felt like that was something we should have known about. But they really, really were protective. Well, protective in some ways, but yet there were some things like go outside and play, because we only had one window air conditioner. It was in the living room and it was only for guests.
Company.
Yeah, company. If they came over, maybe they could get cooled off, but no, the rest of us,
Not us.
we had to have fans and windows open, but that would cost way too much money to run the electricity for an air conditioner. And in the summertime, you had to go out and play, and that was no big deal because I loved jumping on the trampoline and listening to WDLP on the radio because I knew every top 40 song. I knew the lyrics, the artist, the year it came out. Began to have a great love of music because of that. But way before that, I don't know if you remember this, but at the Sunshine Grocery Store,
Oh, I do. I know what you're going to say.
they played music. And at home, we heard gospel, country, western, and that was about it. So we got to learn about Brazilian music, which oh my God, I can remember the girl from Ipanema. And I was just thrilled about that music. So we began to really love different kinds of music from hearing it at the grocery store.
Dancing.
Oh yeah, dancing all the time in the grocery
Do you
store.
remember the pickles? Okay. We were dancing down the aisles one time, of course, because I'm not sure why Mom thought we needed to come with her to the grocery store every time. But we did. And
Because there's no place to put us.
we were having a moment with the music, and we started dancing, and we were doing our own form of ballet, and which wasn't
Oh, we
really
created dances in the grocery store.
in the grocery store. It was like a little bit of heaven, and then all of a sudden, this loud crash. It was one of those gallon jars of pickles. Do you remember Mr. Willingham or Winningham?
Landingham.
Landingham. He was the
manager.
at the grocery store, and yeah, one of us knocked
was
over
nice,
the pickles, and the jar broke, and there's pickle juice and dill pickles all over the floor, and I was like, how did that happen? And we were like, I don't know. And she said, well, what were you doing?
Nothing.
Dancing. And poor Mr. Landingham,
Yeah.
and that's what Mom said. Look at that, poor Mr. Landingham is going to have to clean up after you. And I felt so guilty, but I just couldn't stop dancing in the grocery store.
We couldn't stop dancing.
And singing.
Right, and we sang too. And we've always been like that. And when they had, like a few years later, and this show came on called Solid Gold.
Oh.
It was a dance show.
Solid gold dancers.
And it was like...
That would have been my calling. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to be a solid gold dancer.
Yeah.
That was my dream job, if not a graphic artist, but I wanted to be a solid gold dancer. And we would move the furniture out of the living room a little bit, like where we would have a bigger area for dancing.
Yep.
And Mom would sit there, and I think she was entertained. I think she enjoyed it
too.
because she'd go, if you keep shaking like that, you're going to break it.
Yeah,
break
she
our
did.
bodies. But we really had some pretty good dance moves that we
Yeah, we
made
did.
up ourselves and that we learned from Solid Gold.
And from Soul Train, don't forget it.
Oh God, yes, Soul Train.
Love
And
that.
what was that guy's name?
Don Cornelius.
Don Cornelius. And they also had Wolfman Jack.
Oh, yeah.
That
He was
a
on the
different-
Midnight Special.
The Midnight Special. And then we had American Bandstand
Oh,
with
yeah.
Dick Clark. And that was really good. And my absolute hero back then was Barry Manilow. And he did the theme song for American Bandstand. Oh my God, Barry Manilow, that's a whole nother story all by itself. But I was
Yeah.
so in love with Barry Manilow. And Mom told me that he had hair like a Brillo pad and nose like a pickle, which made me so angry that she would pick on this man that was my hero, that I had an absolute huge crush on. And back then, there was no internet. So you had to look everything up at the library or do your own research, buy the records and all, which I did. I bought every album he had with a little bit of money I earned and, could accumulate. And I knew everything about him, his birthday, his favorite color, where he lived, where he grew up, and all this stuff. The one thing I did not know about Barry Manilow was that he was gay.
Yeah.
And I wasted a lot of time in postage sending him mailings and circling the map so that he would know where I lived so that he could come see me.
Like he was Santa?
Well, to me, he was more than Santa. He was a god. He
Yeah.
could write music, he could sing, he could compose, he played instruments. And of
The whole
course,
package.
yeah,
Except he was gay.
except he was gay.
Can't win them all.
No.
That's before we had gaydars.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about that. And we believed that a couple of our neighbors or friends were gay, but we didn't really know about that.
Who?
Danny.
Gay.
No, not that Danny, the other Danny. The one that took you to the prom.
Oh, well, definitely gay. I mean,
Yeah, and then
No
there was
doubt.
Alan, and what was the other guy's name? Alan and Keith that sat together on the bus every day. Even if the whole bus was empty, they always sat together.
who?
I can't say their names in case somebody,
Okay.
but it was Alan and Keith. They were my age, not your age, so
I probably was just trying to
they
stay
were
out of the...
super smart. One of them, they're
Oh.
both dead now.
Really?
Yeah,
We have to talk about this.
that's another conversation, yeah. But yeah, we didn't really know anything about that. And so there were very few people that were different than just the average white Christian Protestant that we all were. We didn't have any diversity. We really knew nothing about the world. I don't think there were any Jewish people. There were absolutely zero Muslim people. There were 2 Asian people in our school, I think. There were no Hispanic people until middle school.
The exchange student.
Oh,
Johnny
oh my
Mendoza.
Yes. Oh my God, I had the biggest crush on him. I would say he was my first boyfriend, and he really wasn't a boyfriend. But oh my God, he was so cute with those black eyes and black hair and dark skin. I was just like in awe over him. And we didn't know anything about stereotypes.
No.
And everybody called him Spick, and that was his nickname. And so I didn't really realize until later his name was Juan.
I forgot all about that.
But he was
forgot all about
adorable.
that.
Here's what I remember. He was 2 grades below me, and he was very
He's in
short.
my grade.
Yes. I always liked the younger guys, even back then. And he liked me. And so he would carry my books and walk me from class to class, which I thought was just adorable. And he played a saxophone, and man, he was good at the sax. You remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh gosh, he was good. He was a fantastic musician. And so I was in flag corps because I wasn't talented. I could kind of dance with a flagpole, but I could not play an instrument very well. I did take clarinet 1 year. That was only to get out of math class because I was even worse at math than I was at playing an instrument. But I absolutely loved music. And so we would go on these band trips to, football games and stuff. And we would always sit together, me and Johnny. What?
I think they were expecting us to leave.
Oh, we'll leave in a minute. We're at the restaurant. But the one thing I remember about him, he sang songs to me while we were riding. And the one song I remember, If I Were a Carpenter, but then again, no, it was that Elton John song, a very sweet love song. And he would sing that to me, and I'd almost cry. It was just beautiful. And one day, I had this kind of revelation like, he's younger than I am. He's shorter than I am. I have a car. He can't even drive yet. So I was like, this isn't right. We're in high school. I don't need to keep doing this thing. And I just kind of, we just kind of parted our ways. And then, what was it, like 40 years later, we both found him on
Yeah.
social media about the
Yes.
same time. And it was really cool because we connected and were talking a little while. And then, tragically, he died in a trucking accident right after that. So it was nice that we did reconnect
Yes.
many, many years later and just said hello. And, I think he was a good guy.
I think he was too.
Yeah, but we both kind of liked him, didn't we?
Of course.
Because we didn't know any Hispanic people.
He was exotic.
Oh, yes. And maybe that set the stage because ever since then I've had this thing for guys with dark hair and dark eyes, and especially if they can speak another language. So thank you, Johnny Spick1 Mendoza. Theophilio's Carlos Mendoza. He had like a dozen names or so. But he was a sweet guy and so cute.
He was. Teofilo, no, he tried to teach me how to say his name. Teofilo Juan Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah, he was a cutie.
Yeah. I'm so sad that he's passed.
Me too. But unfortunately, I've been noticing a lot of people our age have been dying lately.
You knew it would happen one day, but not so soon.
I know, we're still what we think is young.
I think
I'm
we're
66.
Yeah.
You're how old?
Well, I always say 62.
Girl, you're lying.
Well, okay, 62.
Okay.
But I'm 62. Like, June always corrects me. One of my friends is a stickler for dates. And whenever
She knows when you're lying.
oh, she'll call me out in front of people. Because she doesn't like me lying about my age, apparently. But I don't mean to. It just comes out.
Yeah. Well, we've been sitting in this restaurant finished with our meal for a while, and they're kind of giving us the side
It's
eye.
the lunch hour.
Yeah,
We
so
should
we
probably go.
Anyway, mwah.
Mwah. Nice talking to you.